hiding something. Salte. You running like you hiding something. Where is my niece? Where is my niece? Where is my niece?
Karla, where's the girls?
Yeah, you deadbeat. What?
Don't touch anything.
Salte de ahí.
Hang out here.
Sorry.
Is your car, I think?
That's my phone, I think. Oh no. Get her out the car. She was running.
Fucking body, this bitch, yo.
So why you were running?
Back up.
We've been chasing you for like 20 minutes.
Back up.
We've been chasing you for like 20 minutes.
Today's case is a classic example of why I've been saying that some people have become so evil these days to the point that the devil is actually getting jealous. Because it involves a 12-year-old called Jacqueline Mimi Torres, who unfortunately was found deceased inside a box behind a vacant home in Connecticut. And this was nearly a year after police believed that she had been unalived and hidden by her family. Now, I'm sure you are wondering who in her family would have done this to this 12-year-old. Well, guess what? Her mother, by name Karla Garcia, along with her mother's sister, that is her aunt, and her aunt's boyfriend, have been arrested and charged in connection with Jacqueline Mimi Torres' demise, which authorities suspect involved a situation of prolonged neglect and maltreatment. Now, I'm going to get into this case, but I tell you, it's a heavy one, and it's for educational purposes, and I'm telling you that more and more people are losing their humanity, and this case will prove that to you. So, 12-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torres was just a regular little girl living her life, and if you watch her videos and pictures, she's as vibrant as they come. But unfortunately, as recent as the 8th of October 2025, the remains of Jacqueline Mimi Torres were found inside a storage bin behind an abandoned home in New Britain, Connecticut. Now, authorities believe that she had actually been dead for nearly a year, and that they suspect she passed on sometime in the fall of 2024, while her family at the time was residing in Farmington. Now, investigators also allege that she was a victim of prolonged neglect and maltreatment and malnourishment, and that her remains were kept in the family's basement for months before they moved it when the family finally relocated to New Britain in March of 2025. Now, when you hear family being mentioned here, I'm sure you are surprised to know that her mom and her auntie and her auntie's boyfriend are the people at the center of this. Well, let me break it down further for you. So, when her remains were found on the 8th of October, police started with investigations. And one key detail that they got to know was that Jacqueline Mimi Torres was homeschooled, which police suggest limited the community's ability to notice that she had actually gone missing, because it turns out per investigations that no missing persons report was filed by her family. So definitely they knew, because Karla Garcia, as a mother, you cannot have lost your kid for about a year and you went on with life without filing a missing persons report. Definitely it means that you possibly are the one responsible for her being missing. But obviously, per the law, her mom, her auntie, and her boyfriend are still presumed innocent until proven guilty. But fast forward from the 8th of October, when her remains were found, to the 15th of October 2025, where 3 individuals would be arrested and charged in connection with the demise of Jacqueline Mimi Torres. And like I mentioned, these 3 individuals are her mom, called Karla Garcia, and her mother's boyfriend, called Jonathan Nanita. And he is the one who is to face the most charges, including murder with special circumstances and conspiracy to commit murder, among others. The third person is the aunt of Mimi, who herself is also called Jacqueline Garcia, and she is 28 years old. Mimi's mom, Karla Garcia, is 29 years old, and her sister, Jacqueline Garcia, who is Mimi's auntie, is 28 years old. And the boyfriend coupled make 3 people who are now responsible and charged for the unlawful restraint, risk of injury to a minor, murder, attempt to murder, and all the things in between, including intentional cruelty to a person under 19. Now, all these 3 suspects appeared in court on the 14th of October 2025 for their arraignment, where it was obvious that the mom, Karla Garcia, and Jonathan Nanita, her boyfriend, were going through a lot. I'm not sure how the boyfriend looked when he was arrested, but when he showed up in court, it looked like hands had been put on him, maybe by his fellow jail occupants or something, because crimes against kids usually puts a target on your back in prison or in jail. That's what I've heard. Now, they have been ordered to be held on a $5 million bond each, while the aunt has her bond set at $1 million. The next court appearance date is scheduled for the 14th of November 2025. Now, guess what? It turns out that the aunt in herself, Jacqueline Garcia, had recently been released from prison over a similar charge, just that a life was not lost, but she was serving time for being deemed a threat to a child's safety. So you wonder how come such a person was still allowed into the proximity of this kid and ultimately ended up leading to this. And it doesn't end there, because the horrific nature of this case has actually triggered a response from state officials and the community, where Connecticut's Child Welfare Agency, that's the Department of Children and Families, the DCF, has now, as a result, launched a review into its involvement with the family. Now, while Mimi's surviving siblings have also been placed in custody, they don't want to take chances now, because one is bad enough. It shouldn't have even happened. And rumors have it that DCF already had this mom on their radar, and that this mom had won custody of this kid. That's how come Jacqueline Mimi Torres was in her custody. She had won custody from the father. And this is how it turns out. She exposes him to this irresponsible boyfriend of hers and her own sister, who is Mimi's aunt, who in herself has already been convicted, allegedly, of being a risk to children. And then I'm sure you'll be now asking yourself, who, as a mother, would expose their children to all these things? And to think that this was a 12-year-old girl, and the 2 family members of hers were also women. You would really have expected better from them, particularly since one of these women is actually her own mom, Karla Garcia. I've said in some videos that most women, if not all, can give birth, but it's not all women who are actually able to be mothers. Now, the first time I said that, someone asked me, explain further, and I'll break it now. Naturally, per the makeup of a female's body, it's very likely most women, if not all, can conceive and give birth, therefore becoming a mother, or even adopt a kid and still become a mother. But what it takes to give quality motherhood in itself is something that goes beyond being just a woman or just being female. It calls for empathy and a whole lot of things within you and your heart. And some women don't have that. I don't think Karla Garcia, if found guilty, would qualify to have been a mom to this girl. Particularly looking at the outcome that we are looking at right now with the demise of Jacqueline Mimi Torres. And you see, they are presumed innocent until proven guilty, but there are some really glaring evidences that makes it difficult to doubt whether they are actually not guilty. It makes them look really suspect. One of them is that they didn't launch or lodge a missing person report even when Jacqueline Mimi Torres, per police, had been missing for about a year. And because she was homeschooled, people didn't notice. And the DFS also, it looks like it's something they didn't pick up. So you begin to wonder, why didn't the family lodge the missing person report? Someone would say, yeah, they wouldn't lodge it because they knew where she was. She had passed on, possibly at the hands of those same family members who may have been guilty of doing these things they are alleged to have done to her. So if they go on to lodge a missing persons report, it's almost as though they are snitching on themselves and an investigation is going to start, which now law enforcement will be looking to find Jacqueline Mimi Torres, which then will put them in trouble. But playing this in my mind, I was wondering, assuming, keyword here being assuming her mother is actually guilty, Karla Garcia, her mom being guilty, assuming, try to work with me to find an appreciation of how such a mother can sleep and wake up every day knowing that her daughter is deceased and in a box somewhere and she's just fine moving on with her life. Imagine what it takes. And you saw her arrest video at the beginning of the episode. And when I saw how she broke down and cried in court, I don't know, but I felt like the guilt had come full circle. I feel it's something she was carrying around, not knowing what to do with it, but for the sake of self-preservation and her selfishness, she was possibly hoping to ride on into the sunset without ever being found out by law enforcement. But the thing is, you can't hide crime. Eventually it comes out. And for the sister and the boyfriend, it's so unfortunate. You can imagine the risk that Jacqueline Mimi Torres was exposed to at the hands of these people. I'm hoping that this case is going to be expedited and justice is actually gotten for Jacqueline Mimi Torres. Unfortunately, it still wouldn't bring her back. That's the sad aspect of these things. And sometimes you have people advocating for the lex talionis principle, that's an eye for an eye, but in most legal systems, that is no longer something that they go with. But who knows? Some states in the US may still give the death sentence, may still give life imprisonment and all. I'm following this case. As and when there are updates, I'll bring them to you. RIP to Jacqueline Mimi Torres. You can leave that as a comment in the comment section. But hey, come on, blood is supposed to be thicker than water. How did we get here? That some women can do this to their own kids and their own nieces with some half-ass boyfriend of theirs and they are fine. What generation is coming up these days? Well, you can let me know in the comment section. I'll catch you in the next one.